Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss with you about MED C204.1, that is Development of Elementary Education. Under this coursework, under this Unit 2, that is Policies on Elementary Education, the first topic is constitutional provisions for elementary education and their implications. Constitutional provisions for elementary education and their implications. It is purely for the specialization of this elementary education. First policy on elementary education is, as you all know, Article 45, that is free and compulsory education for the age group of 6 to 14. Because elementary means based on the age, that is the student after comes up to 6 years, he has to go to school, not to work. Because suppose if any landlord appoint him to work, he will be punishable. So it is compulsory, free and compulsory elementary education for every citizen of India. Then Article 12, it is the territorial jurisdiction. So any article, it framed from the state or central, it will be come under the state and also to the country in the total area governed by the government of India. So we are having northeastern states, and we are having Jammu and Kashmir, and we are having union territories. So all these will be the territorial jurisdiction belong to, we are one nation. India is one nation, and we are the United Citizens of the Union, Indian Union. So this is the right for this for every citizen to live happily in our country. That is Article 12. Then Article 30, it belongs to the minorities. Minorities are Buddhistic minorities, Christian minorities, Muslim minorities, Jains, Parsis, Zoroastrians, like that. Some groups in India, they are also living in our country. So for their education development, some articles also framed by our country, that is Article 30, that is cultural and educational rights to establish, administer educational institutions. They are having their own rights. Because of that, the madrasas, maktabs run by the Muslims, they are having their own religious, and they are having their own culture in educating their children. And at the same time, the Christian minority institutions, they are also having their own educational institutions. In Sikkim, we can see the monasteries, Buddhistic monasteries, they will taught and they will learn that by their teachings, they will learn how to promote this Buddhistic culture and Buddhistic education to their citizens. That is Article 30. And the second point is all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions on their choice. Because if any minority wants to establish their own educational institutions, they can freely establish. It is their right. Then, in granting aid to the institution, no discrimination against any educational institution under the grounds of minority. Because if any government, any minority wants to establish their own educational institutions, and if they ask for the aid, grant in aid, so based on the religion or language, we should, any act, it is not show any discrimination. They can freely establish their own educational institutions. Then Article 29(1), it is language safeguard. That is, any section of the citizen residing in the territory of India or any part there of having a distinct language, script or culture of his own have the right to conserve the same. We are living in Sikkim. Here the mother tongue is Nepali. So the Nepali language, it should be protected, their own culture, and everyone should honor and respect their culture, even if it is other state citizens residing in this place. They have to respect the culture, language, and their script. I came to know that the script, it is Hindi, because Hindi is also belong to our national language. So we don't have the script for Nepali language. Because of that, the script is in Hindi language. Whatever it may be, it is also belong to our national language, and Nepali language belong to the state language. So we have to respect and preserve the culture and script by this language. So it is safeguard of language. Then Article 350(b), it is related to the appointment of officer or special officer on linguistic minorities to investigate the matter of all to safeguard the minorities. So one officer or special officer on the minorities to investigate the matter, to safeguard, because Hajj House in earlier in Telangana, Hajj House, it is there. It is for the protection of the minorities, the Muslim minorities. Likewise, the Christian welfare chairman, it is also there in Thadepalli, that is in Andhra Pradesh. So these officers, they will investigate the matter, how to safeguard the minorities, how to develop their educational abilities, and how to develop them. So these officers will be looked after. That is Hajj trip, that is going to Makkah, Medina, and going to Jerusalem. These trips also they will provide those officers. Then Article 15, it safeguard SC and ST communities and weaker sections. So based on the religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, there is no discrimination for the weaker sections to join in any school, to live freely in the society. So they can, even if they belong to SC or ST, no discrimination, because many citizens in this Sikkim state are scheduled tribes. We are having Lepcha groups, we are having Bhutia groups, we are having Limbu groups. All these tribal groups, they can freely live, and they can, no one should show any discrimination based on the religion. They can choose any religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Then Article 15(1), Clause 1, it provides that state shall not discriminate any citizen only on group of sex. Suppose no gender discrimination. If it is that nowadays transgender also got a good importance, and for appointments also our country is providing. In Telangana, that is Central University of Hyderabad, while they are marking this gender, they also provide male, female, and transgender. So if any educated transgender is there, they are also eligible for vocation or to work in the country. That is based on the sex group, no discrimination, no gender discrimination. Gender sensitivity, it should be followed in any educational institution. Then Article 15(3), nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. because special provisions for women, that is providing maternity leave for the woman and some child care leave for the woman. All these things, it should be given. Constitution has given for the woman and children. So it is the article related to 15, clause 3. Then article 17, untouchability is an offense and anyone doing so is punishable by law. Because Mahatma Gandhi, untouchability, states untouchability is a sin. So, no, if any person shows the discrimination based on any group, because we are having the upper communities and we are having downtrodden communities. So generally, earlier days, these upper communities, they will show untouchability. They don't touch. Suppose if any person touch, they don't allow to worship, or don't allow any person, untouchable person, into the temple. Like that, yeah, these things happened earlier, but right now, those things we can't see. It is a punishable. Then Article 46, the state shall promote with special care the education and economic interests of weaker sections of the people, particularly scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and protect them with social justice and prevent them from all forms of social exploitation. So, no upper community person should not exploit these groups, weaker sections in the society, but state shall look after to protect the social justice for them. That is Article 46. And Article 29, Clause 1, it provides the right to every section of the citizen which has distinct language, script, and culture. So, even if the person belongs to different languages, because in India, up to North India, majority of states, they will speak Hindi language, but in southern states like this Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, the southern languages are different. It is Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, all these languages, they will. Based on the language, no one should discriminate the person based on the language or their script and all their culture. They can also preserve their culture by writing the books and writing their language in mother tongue. They can also preserve the scripts and culture. That is Article 29, Clause 1. Then Article 29, Clause 2, no citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of the state funds on grounds of religion, race, caste, language, or any of them. So, every citizen, even if he belongs to different religion, different race, different caste, different language, so discrimination, it should not be shown for the admission in any educational institution. Then Article 46, the federal government is responsible for economic and educational development of the downtrodden communities like scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So the government is responsible. Because of that, government is providing food, scholarships, and reservations. All these things, they are promoting these downtrodden communities into the level of the upper communities. Then Article 25, Clause 1, secular education, that is all citizens are the right to have freedom of conscience and the right to profess, practice, and propagation of the religion. Suppose here, if any person wants to propagate Buddhism, he is having the right. Likewise, if any person wants to profess and practice Christian religion, he is having a right. That is because India is having a secular state. All religions are having equal importance, and because of that, no discrimination based on the religion. Then Article 28, Clause 1 states no religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution if wholly maintained out of state funds. Because some governmental institutions run by the state, so no religious, only the moral instruction they have to provide, but the religious instruction it not be provided. That is 28 clause 1. And Article 28.2 states, nothing in clause 1 shall apply to an educational institution which is administered by the state but has established under the endowment or trust which requires that religious institution shall be imparted to such institution. Suppose if any educational institution established by the Christian minority or the Muslim minority, and they can practice their religious institutions, even if they got the fund from the state government, they can practice their own religious instruction. Then Article 28.3 states that no person attending any educational institution by the state or receiving aid out of state funds shall be required to take part in any religious instruction that may be imparted in such institutions or to attend any religious worship that may be conducted in such institution or in any premises attached thereto, unless such persons or such a person a minor, his guardian has to give in his consent thereto. Suppose if one person joined in Christian minority, he belonged to Hindu group. So generally children, they don't know about the religion, nothing, they don't know. Only they are going to learn education. But if the institution belongs to Christian minority, if they want to practice this religious education, so the father or the guardian of that particular child who is studying in that school has to give him permission for the institution. So they have to provide permission, otherwise it is not allowed. Then Article 30, the state shall not, in granting aid to the educational institution maintained by the state receiving aid out of state funds on grounds only of religion, race, caste, or language, or any of them. Suppose if it is purely established by the state, if any educational institutions. So based on the institution, there is no grounds of any religion. So everyone is equal. They should not teach these languages because it is the governmental institution. Then Article 26, Clause 1, it is related to mother tongue. So any section of the citizen residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve them. So because my mother tongue is Telugu language, so it is my right to protect my script, to protect my culture, and also to protect my language. Likewise, so every Nepali, they are having their own right to protect their Nepali language. And Article 350, it shall endeavor of every state and every local authority to provide adequate facilities for instruction in mother tongue at the primary stage of education to children belonging to linguistic minority groups. So, state shall provide the elementary education teaching in their own mother tongue. In Andhra Pradesh, we are having tribal groups in Araku Valley, in Visakhapatnam district. One area it is there, Araku. So it is all belong to the tribal. So Dhimsa language, they are having Dhimsa. So those people who know that language, they are going to appoint as a teachers for developing and promoting elementary education in that particular area. So state has to take some precautionary measures to promote this elementary education based on the mother tongue. Then in language policy, Article 351, it states that Hindi as a national language, the duty is every Indian has to promote the spread of Hindi language. So in many banks, we can see every day one word. If we learn every day one word, within 1 year, we learn 365 words. So it should be develop the proficiency in national language, because Hindi also a national language, and we are also taught by the teachers, language teachers in our school days. So generally, every citizen in India, some are maybe they know some language belong to this Hindi language. And according to policies also, we are having 3 language formula. That is international language also we are taught in the elementary education, national language Hindi, and along with the mother tongue. So these are all some of the policies, some of the articles framed for the students, particularly to promote elementary education. Thank you, students.